All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's live class. We have wonderful things to discuss today. But first, also please give me a quick like, a quick comment here in the chat that you can hear and see me. Right? We don't want, and I'll also put a little message here. Tag everyone. Hey, we're live. Happy days. Yeah, to kind of check that the system is up and running while people are joining, ladies and gentlemen. For those that don't know me, I'm a dude that has been programming for a long time. Now I'm helping people become programmers. And today we talk about the basic idea, the basic steps that everybody that wants to build an application should follow. And we'll go with that, right? And you might have written a hello world in your day. That's a small piece of software, that's okay. But when it comes to bigger, more impressive things, you need more structure, you need a process, you need to go step by step to actually finish that project as well. That's right. There is a process to all of that. And one of the processes that I forgot is to turn on my little light. So I'm enlightened now. Look at me. Um, and so if you don't, like if you're here and you don't feel confident to build your own piece of software, to build your own project from scratch, then this class here is definitely for you. But as it is, ladies and gentlemen, a live kind of thing, I want to hear from you people. Where are you currently at? Do you have some app ideas? Are you planning to do something? Right? Are you thinking about that? Right? Let me know in the chat. And Ryan Bright here. Yeah, Ryan, can you make an app in JavaScript? Yes, you can. Is it a good idea? No. Quick answer right there. Answering the chat right there. And let me know if you were to be starting something from scratch. Would you be confident about how to approach it? Also, if you don't have any clue, what you should build. Maybe you say, oh, I know I should, God damn it, the internet tells me I should have a proper portfolio project, but I don't know what is actually good. Then also let me know that here in the chat. Again, it's a live thing. I can see the chat over here. Somebody asked about silly questions about JavaScript because they like to annoy me. That's okay. In today's live call, I'll show the exact steps that you need to get from a real world problem, this is kind of important, to a software solution. So after this class, you'll have an action plan on how to approach that whole endeavor. And the goal here is that you know exactly what you must do and in which order to actually build something. So who is this live class for? I can see people joining here that I already know, Ryan and Andre. Welcome to this little live thingy-mabob that we have going on here. This is for you. If you feel like, okay, I got the concepts down, I've done some exercises, but when you think about building your whole big thing from scratch, you kind of get uncertain. And maybe you feel like, gee, I wouldn't even know where to start. Then this is for you. But even if you're an absolute beginner, and you just yesterday decided to start learning to program, keep those things in mind that I'm going to tell you here today, because it will definitely help you learn faster and more convenient and with less pain. What is important to say before we dive into this here? This is a step-by-step approach. I'll tell you how that goes in general, but it only works if you really do that, if you take it seriously. If you're a person that says, okay, I'm gonna do this right now, and then implements. If you're just here for the entertainment, okay, that's cool. But I do think there are more entertaining things on the TV than me right now. And what we are discussing here are basically the actual steps that we use with our clients. So they build their own first application, their own real thing from scratch. So in the end, if you want to make the best of it and also have me personally and my team help you with that, you can always reach out to me. Send me a little chat, send me a little message, send me an email. I'm here to help you. And the thing is, building a software product, an application, this is a little bit like solving a puzzle. Of course, there is a system to it. And if you don't know the system, you'll be pretty lost. If you build a puzzle and you're 2 years old and you don't know what you're doing, you'll have a hard time. But of course, if you have a few strategies like looking for the corner pieces first, then you're gonna have an easier time. And now I personally have been involved in very huge and small and huge projects, with dozens of developers, years of development cycle, right? And of course, if you think about it that way, a lot of planning goes into something like that. But even if you don't build a multi-year project, the process is still the same, and I distilled it down for you so you can apply it to your one-man show, to your personal project. And sadly enough, if you're just on your own and trying to learn program, you focus a lot on the technical parts. And nobody ever tells you, hey, you need to kind of have a proper strategy of building something. Because I didn't know. I'm old, right? Here's the old Austrian man yelling at the camera. But I didn't know about that. And I only learned this when I had my first job. And that opened my eyes. And it made sense. Of course, those things, if you stick to certain procedures, things get much easier. So if that's something that's interesting to know, let me know. If you have any questions, also please put them in the chat. And today's basically 7 steps from idea to finished product. And those steps are very simple and very clear. Maybe you have heard of them, maybe you don't. It's time to take some notes and get the party going. Please do yourself a favor. If you take this seriously, watch it till the end, because all the steps are important. If you just do half of it, you don't cross the finish line. Okay, so also if you're currently writing an app and you have some questions about it, put them in the chat. I have a question here: an app to get prices via API or directly from web for energy management system and combine them with the home energy consumption. Yes, I mean, APIs exist. How do you measure your home energy consumption? I'm curious. For those people that don't know me, I'm a huge home automation enthusiast, much to the delight of my family, because of course, most of the things work most of the time. But those things are totally possible. The important thing is when you decide on what to do, right? And today's class is about how to do it. But if you decide on what to do, if you hit the mark that it is actually useful in some sense, and that it's somehow interesting to you, then that's a good idea generally. So we'll talk about structuring and all the good stuff. I'll start with the first important thing that should be obvious to everybody, but maybe it's not. Before you start coding anything, you need to be very clear on that. Step number 1, what should my application actually do? Right? What's the purpose? The greater purpose. What problem does it solve? I'll give you some examples in a minute. But it is very important that you very clearly define what you're trying to build. And just having a headline, this is not enough. Right? If you say, hey, I'll build Tinder for dogs. That's a headline. That's fun. But you need to actually dig a little deeper and deeper and actually define what that thing should actually do in the end. And you need to write it down in a document before you even think about how you would build it. So the first step here is you write yourself 1 page describing the actual functionality of the application. And at that stage, do yourself a favor. Don't think too much about how you're going to implement that, because it kind of hinders your thought process. Just think about what the thing should do in the end. So we'll stay with Tinder for dogs. Okay. You, in this document, you go into detail. So it allows users to match with other users. Users have accounts that have images, that have some text bio. Then you also define the process. Users see pictures of dogs and they select if they're interested. And if 2 accounts are mutually interested, they notify each other and so on. You need to write this down in a document so you don't lose track of what you're actually trying to build. This is also very important, because in your head, right? If it's like, oh, Tinder for dogs, I know what that like. I can imagine what that looks like, but you need to specify the details, right? The more detailed of a plan you have of what you want to build, the more you can adhere to that plan. And yeah, don't worry. Like, this is also important. Many people then start the wrong side up, and they worry about, oh, how is it going to look like? What's the design? What's the user interface? And that's really the last step. It is not important. It's a little bit important, but it's not that important. Okay, because if you really think about it, what would you rather use? An application that looks super awesome, but it doesn't really work well, or an application that looks like somebody farted it out in the 90s, but actually provides you value. And the clear winner is always the thing that works, over the thing that looks good. Right? So don't think about the implementation, write this down. Don't think about the user interface. And you don't, like, this is not going to be your Bible. The document can change over time. That is fine. But you need your bird's eye view before you go right to the next step. So let's assume we have the document, we have defined what the thing should do. Okay, cool. Step number 2. What data does my app actually need to handle, and where to get it? So Andre here already has a few things. I mean, that's not a full page, but that the data that he needs is gotten from some API, and from some home automation system. For the example, I'm not going to lay out the whole application idea here, but we'll stick with the dogs. The answer again is not dogs. Dogs are not data, but what actual data do I need to handle? What data goes in? What data goes out? In that example, it would be something like, okay, dog's name goes in, user's name goes in, biotext goes in, age goes in, pictures go in, and you write it all down in your document. Then you think about what data comes out of your application. Maybe similar things, but maybe it also does notifications. Maybe it needs to send an email. Maybe whatever, right? All of those things you need to think about and write them down. It's very important. What goes in, what goes out, needs to be very clearly defined. Another important part is, where do you get your data from? With the dog Tinder idea, most of the data will come from the user. But you have other things. You have all those teeny annoying details. You might have a drop-down menu to select the dog breed. So where do you get that? So you can probably research where to find a list of common dog breeds. Maybe you find some kind of API. Your goal here is always to find something machine readable. So that might be an API. That might be a CSV, that might be some JSON file. Worst case scenario, you find an Excel file, that's also fine, but something you can read with your program. And you need this for all your data points. Right? You maybe can find a list of dog breeds and you can copy paste it. You can find a list of cities and you can copy paste that, but you want to kind of gather that type of data automatically. So you need to find a good source for that. Google is your friend, and depending on what you're gonna find, it might affect your data structures. This is why you need to do this right now in step number 2, because you say, okay, I need whatever dog breeds, and that sounded like a fun task in the beginning, but now you figure out, okay, there is like categories of breeds and blah, 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 and so that might influence how you structure your whole application. So this is what you do before you start implementing. And as soon as you have all of that cobbled together, then you move on to step number 3, which is annoying or can be annoying, but it helps with step number 4. So please don't skip it. You need to logically group your data points. Okay. What does this mean? You have just written a list of data that your app will use, right? Goes in, goes out. And now it's time to structure your data. And you can do this in multiple ways. Either you just start writing the next document, happy days. You take a piece of paper and draw like little pictures. You put all the things that belong together in a circle. It's just a thinking exercise, right? I just do it on a piece of paper, usually. But you can do whatever you feel. So what does this specifically entail? You group things that belong together. Pretty straightforward task. So you say, okay, a user has an assigned email address, has a username, has multiple dogs, and so on, right? And those are all data points that belong to the user. And then you think about the dog, and the dog might have a name, have an age, a picture, or a bunch of pictures, a specific breed. All of those data points, you draw into a bubble, and you just write it down. And then you might have notifications. Okay, what does a notification have? What kind of data? Yeah, a notification itself, what is this? This is maybe a date. This is maybe some text. This is maybe a category. And all of those things belong to notification. So you group all of those things. Do you see where I'm going with this? It's just an exercise of putting things together. And you write them down, or you draw a quick diagram. And you do all of this. Important note here. So far, you haven't written one single line of code. Okay? You've spent maybe even weeks on that, but you haven't written one single line of code. Okay, cool. So now you've grouped your things, and now it's then time to try and find data types for that particular data you want to store. And then again, at this point, you should be roughly aware of data types. A dog's name is going to be a string. The birthday is going to be of the date, time, type, whatever, right? So you just write it next to the things that you have previously grouped. You've done that, okay? Step number 4, you start to write a teeny tiny bit of code. You're gonna write some class definitions. And the cool thing here is you already made a blueprint for that in the last steps. So now you basically sit down and create a class for everything that you found in the previous step. You do a user class, a dog class, a notification class, and so on. The fields of this class you also already figured out in step number 4. So it is now a very straightforward task. Not much can go wrong at this stage. Right? All the structure should already be there. And as soon as you have that, you can pat yourself on the back and say, hey, look at me. That wasn't terribly hard. I already created my data structures. Cool. So what do we do next? Step number 5, you create test data or mock data. Because at this point, you already have your classes or data structures in place. Now you should build a few mock objects. And you fill those data structures with some made up data. Important, the data should look and be as realistic as possible because we're going to use them. The idea is that you have a bunch of, in this case, made up users, made up dogs, made up notification, and so on. So you can later test your implementation and see if that actually works. When you do this, do yourself a favor. I know you're just making up dog names, okay? But make up realistic dog names, make up realistic birth dates, make up realistic data. If it just randomize it, that's not good test data. That should be as real of data as you can possibly make it. But the cool thing here is that is really a pretty simple task because your task is to make up dog names, right? Okay, cool. A question came in here, a serious question. Does it make sense to use Visio, an alternative to Planet Code, while planning or writing an application? If you like it, that's okay. Not much benefit. The one thing I would steer everybody away from, and this is something where the internet might tell you a different thing. There is a thing called a UML diagram. This is specifically to build like database structures or object structures. And every university or what have you will tell you, oh, you need an UML diagram. You don't. The tools are shitty. It's annoying to work with, and there's not much benefit. So if you want to just draw some diagrams on a piece of paper with Visio, that's good. Stay away from all the UML type of things. It's way out of scope. It's just annoying, not much benefit. If you're not working in a huge team and you have like you're building the next Facebook, right? You don't need that. But yeah, anything, yeah, draw it in Paint. Be my guest. I'm a huge fan of Paint, obviously. But yeah, that's good. So we were in step number 5, which was making up dog names. We did that. Okay. Step number 6, you create your first method. So you do maybe remember in the beginning you figured out what the application should actually do. And if you don't, we have written it down so you can read it. Now it's time to build one of those functionalities. So you build a very simple method, for example, to see if 2 dogs would be a match. So a method where you can input 2 dog objects and it just tells you if they're a match or not. Relatively straightforward task. And then you feed that method with that made up data from the previous step. You already have the data. So you can figure out if the thing actually works. And if a method doesn't work, you need to go bug hunting. But the cool thing is it's just this one method that you're currently building. And then you hit it with a hammer until it behaves as expected. Okay. And then it's just a matter of building the next method that can handle your fake data, and then the next method and the next method. You don't build everything, of course, but you do this until you have the fundamental functionality tested and working, right? So far, so good. And then, as a last step, step number 7, ladies and gentlemen, you start building a user interface. If you need it, okay, this is very important. Not everything needs a proper user interface, but that's besides the point. But you build a user interface because now at the last step, you have all your battleships in place. You have your data structures, you have your functionality, and you already know it works because you tested it with your made up data. So now in the last step, you decide on some kind of UI framework and you use that. You use it to display your data and get data from the users and to call those methods that are written in the previous step. You know what's great about this? By that time, you already know your data structures make sense. Your logic does work. So you don't have to worry about that anymore. Now you just have the task of making it look pretty. So now if something doesn't display right, if something doesn't behave right, you know that you must just look at the UI code that you're currently building, because all the other things are already known and working. And that's pretty neato. It's pretty neat if you always know where to look if something doesn't work. Right? That's nice. That's cool. And if you do that, you suddenly have an application. Right? Did we miss anything? No. Things are ready to ship. Those are the steps you need to take. Those are very simple steps. If you follow them, you'll always know what to do. And this is the beauty of it. I'll quickly run through these steps one more time. You need to define what your application should actually do. Be precise about that. What data does it need? Be precise about that. How is that data grouped logically? Then you go write classes. Then you create some test data. Then you create some methods and test them. And then you slap a user interface on top of it. This is exactly what we do with our clients. That makes people that have never written proper software in their life come out with a thing that is good enough to be sold. Right? Of course, that's a long process. We go much more into detail. This is a process that usually takes 6 months, 8 months, what have you, because building a proper thing just takes time, especially if it's combined with learning new stuff. But this is the way to get you from some random idea to an actual application. And one step always builds on top of the other one. And the beauty, right, is that between those steps, if you followed along, there is not much ambiguity. Right? So each thing individually is pretty straightforward. You have a very structured approach. So if that sounds like it's a good idea, that sounds logic, and you want also to take those exact steps, you want to build your own application, you want to learn how to do that, you want to do everything right, then write 7 steps in the comments down below. I will reach out to you. I read all my comments. I read all my messages. Here is the laptop that I use, ladies and gentlemen, and we can talk about it. Yeah, if you're interested in just knowing exactly what we do or how that would look for you personally, then I want to click the thing that I can't find here. Look at me being unprofessional. God damn it. So if that's interesting to you, right? And you don't want to send me a DM, you don't want to send me a message, yeah, then go to my page, wherever it is, here, right? You can book a free consultation with one of our coaches. Just have a look at your current situation. What are you trying to do? Where are you trying to go? What are you trying to learn? And see if we can help you with that. It's for free. Talk to us. Be my guest. And the important thing here is, with those kinds of system, with this system, right, this will set you up how to learn how to solve real world problems. Right? This is what we programmers do. This is what we get paid for. And with this approach, with this structure, this is the closest you can get to get actual real world experience without actually working as a software engineer. Right? This is the closest you can get. No doubt, because you build something with purpose. You build something that is useful, and you build it in a professional way. So I'm doing this because, I mean, I've seen so many people, yeah, they genuinely, they want to learn programming, they're motivated, what have you, and they're being discouraged, yeah, they give up. And the problem never is that programming is hard. It is always because there is no clear guidance on what to do and when to do it. And it's just extremely hard. It's extremely hard to figure out how to build something just on your own, because it's something you've never done before. Maybe nobody even told you the strategy, right? And so many people have quit for all the wrong reasons. So if you want some help, pretty please reach out to me. I'm here to help you, beautiful people. We still have some time left, so if anybody has any questions, yeah, dump them in the chat. I'll be happy to answer them. If it's about the general approach that we do, if it's about the mentoring program that we have, feel free to ask me about that. But at least, yeah, take one thing from me here. If you wanna build something that matters, if you want to build something that's impressive, if you want to have this in your portfolio application so somebody takes you seriously, it needs to be of a certain complexity, and it needs to be useful. And there's really no way around that. And if you want to dive into something that is complex, an application that does a little more than be a stupid to-do list app, then you need strategy, then you need the right steps along the way. Okay. Here are the steps. If you want more help with that, let me know. There are no questions in the chat. Everybody is bamboozled. That's great. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful evening. If you want to contact me, you know where to find me. It's over there. It's over there. I don't know. And then book a free consultation with us. It's for free. We can have a chat and maybe start working together. Until next time, have a nice day and talk to you soon.